It's fall, which means the garden's starting to wind down and you're getting a lot of your seed crops going. Seed collecting can be sort of a daunting task for the new gardeners out there, and it's important to know that it's actually a lot more simple than a lot of people will make it out to be. I mean, you literally just need the bare minimum of things that are probably already in your house. So stay tuned, and I'm going to take you through some of my most effective seed saving methods that actually allow me to have a lot of rare plants and seeds. The basic things that you need to look for when storing seeds are a cool, dry, and dark place. And we can kind of go through a couple of the places that are common in a household and really look at that. Now, where a lot of people are going to get hung up with saving seeds is whether or not to keep them in a refrigerator. Now, it doesn't really matter as much to any common grower. Long term, yes, there can be some seeds that do better in there and some seeds that don't. For a lot of what I grow, it doesn't really seem to matter so much. So you can kind of take a look at some other places where it might be good to store seeds. Specifically, something like a basement is a great place. It's just a hole in the ground that stays very stable in temperature. It'll only fluctuate a few degrees per year, but that can be said for most areas in a modern household. So even under a bed in a box with your paper packets of seeds is a great place, and it should specifically be paper packets. They allow for the most airflow and moisture flow, so really your seeds can't be getting damp. Some of them might rot or mold, but again, that plays into the moisture thing. But yeah, you can keep them basically anywhere that is a consistent temperature, dry and dark. So cool, dry, and dark, that's really what you're looking for. That's how almost all of them have been stored for thousands of years at this point. But you will have seeds that require something a little different. So things that require a cold stratification, you might want to consider putting those outside in a bucket of soil, in a Ziploc bag full of soil, and you can just leave those out there and they'll freeze and they'll start germinating in the spring when things start warming up. So things like columbines, pawpaws, just any random assortment of seeds that are hard to grow, really. So as I was saying, paper seed pouches, they're really easy to make. I have another video on native seed collections where I did up a couple of these. Now this one just has wild basil, Clinopodium vulgare in here, and this is just an empty one that I had on hand. But you kind of want to look at these. These are really going to just allow the airflow and keep them dry, because the moisture can go in and out of these. It can be in the packet rather than in your seeds. But really you want to make sure that everything is just as dry as possible. Now my phone's starting to die here, so I'm just going to try and really run through this real quick. It's super important that you label your seed packets. You're never going to remember what's in here if you don't. So when labeling your seed packet, you probably want to put the species or the species and the variety on there. So if you have like a squash, don't just write squash on there. Write what kind of squash, the variety, or even something like this physalis, you're going to want to write the variety of physalis on there. So the variety of ground cherry, rather than just writing ground cherry. The other thing you're going to want to do is put a date on here. Now, I only use storage dates on a lot of my seeds, so this doesn't account for any of the processing or anything like that. But on seeds that I have a lot of and I'm not just going to be using immediately, I would put a collection date over top of the storage date. So that'll give you a time frame for how long it took to process those seeds, and it'll give you a time for when those seeds are ripe. And you can use that to study different things. Specifically with your collection date, like I said, it's going to let you study when those seeds get ripe. Typically you can kind of average it out over years, or you can use that to kind of determine if you have multiple crops of those seeds per year. Now the storage date, that's going to let you know when your seeds are probably starting to go bad. A lot of them are going to last forever, but not necessarily. Some of them will lose certain percentages of germination. So this will just let you study shelf life, how long you can store them, germination rates, things like that. So in this container, I actually have my rarest seeds and a lot of native seeds particularly, but this is kind of what I use to study. Now, I don't do the typical thing that I said you should do, which is write the collection date and the processing date. Now, I only put the storage date on these because you're going to see that they're actually way too small. That's where something like this would come in, which is just a series of notes you can write when you're taking cuttings, seeds, and processing things in general. Drying times, whatever you need to write down, you just write it down in something else. Now, I'll crack this open for you so you can see. Very small, but you know, this is all I need for a lot of these rare ones where I'm trying to build up stock. Or I also just have some domestic varieties in here where I don't get a lot of seeds off of them, or I just want to be able to study between the varieties. So I think there's some basils in here and stuff like that. But I also have Clinopodium vulgare, even though I have a ton of them. I just kind of have it so I can see what it looks like in different years and test shelf life and stuff like that. And you can even see on ones like this where I haven't done my due diligence. So I just have I wrote it down when I collected the seed somewhere, never went and saw it. I just knew what year it was from. And same for this other one. Calocarpa species I have here from 2022. There's no way I was going to figure out when that was actually collected. I just know it was sometime in the fall. One that's more typical, something like this Monarda fistulosa, wrote down on there, collected August 2025. And I believe that was actually part of the video where I was talking about collecting native plant seeds, so check that video out. But that actually brings us into our next topic, which is keeping an organized seed store. So as I was saying, I have a lot of my rare native seeds in here, harder to get seeds, or seeds that I am studying over the courses of several years, or just ones that are cool to look at or just don't have a lot of. But yeah, mostly natives in here. We got Physostegia virginiana, I think it is, Collinsonia canadensis from 2024. You can see just how few seeds I actually have of that, because you don't get a whole lot of them, and that was actually from the first time I collected them. Hedioma plagioides, they're so small you can hardly get into them, but I think you can kind of see them in there. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in here, and even I organize it further. So stuff that's a little more common or you get a lot of seeds off of, I have organized over here. Super rare ones, or ones I don't have a lot of, they're all over here. Actually, I just found my Lobelia inflata. Super, super tiny, literally grains of sand. I was wondering where I put that. Not organizing very well, am I? And then we have the more domestic plants and non-native plants that are kind of hard to find, or you're not really going to find anymore. Like I have Lamium purpureum in here, Leonuris cardiaca, which is an invasive weed, basically. You don't see it a whole lot because it doesn't spread that easily unless you give it a good environment to spread in, and it spreads like mad. But I even have Lamium and Plexicola in here. So if you're wondering what the Lamiums are, Lamium purpureum is purple dead nettle. Lamium and Plexicola, I believe they call, I don't even remember what they call that anymore. Something hen or something. I don't know. Don't worry about common names. And I even have Glaucoma hederaceae in here, which is hard to get seeds off of, surprisingly. But that's in like everybody's lawn and stuff. And I just have that so I can study it, and I have it on hand. And even Nepeticateria. That's not hard to get. It's not a hard plant to find even, but you know, I have it in here so I can look at them if I need to. Even Marubium vulgare, I have that in here. Horehound, white horehound they call it. And Stachys byzantina, I have like 6 seeds in there for some reason. I should really collect more of them. That's from 2022 as well. But yeah, then I got Ocimum basilicums in here, Perilla frutescens, 2 of them, one from 2024, a whole lot of them, and from 2023, about half of that. Prunella vulgaris, Clinopodium vulgare, Pycnanthemum incanum, Virginianum, more Clinopodium vulgare, Fistulosa, Teucrium canadense. So this is Teucrium canadense from August 2025. So again, I did a video on collecting that one. But yeah, this case, I got it off of Amazon. It came with pouches as well. That's part of the reason I got this one. I never really used these. I just kind of got this one because maybe at some point I'll do some seed swaps and stuff. They come with the stickers for the lids, and I actually bought a whole case more of them in case I wanted to reuse containers where I used up some stuff, and I think I actually did that already. But yeah, they just call them multi-use labels, little circles, same thing that come in the pack. You get them at Walmart. I think I paid like less than $3 for them. But if you don't want to spend the money on a case like this, I think it was like $25. They're like $20 to $30. I would recommend just getting big gallon Ziploc bags, and you can kind of keep some of your different plants in there. Like I keep all my vegetables together, all my herbs together, all my flowers together, and my native plants together. So here's these bags that I was talking about. I actually keep a lot more seeds in these bags than I do in my little container because I just have a lot more, and they're more readily accessible seeds that I don't have to clean myself. Vegetable bag. I got basically a bunch of seeds that I got from my parents in here. Black mustard I collected, squash seeds I collected, radishes, carrots, all different sorts of varieties. A couple things of sugar pods, bok choy, just random stuff really. Nothing that interesting in this bag. I don't really care about vegetables, unfortunately. I have my herbs bag, a lot more of the common ones, but actually I have basically every basil you can think of, a bunch of them from Africa, Asia. Not a lot of variety on them really when I get down to it at the end of the day, but we can kind of go through this a little bit more because I love herbs. It's really what I'm into. So right up top we got oregano, purple basil, which I grew some of, dill I collected this year, purple beefsteak that I collected years ago, marjoram. I think we have Walker's Low catnip in here. Yeah, I actually should do a video on this. I think this is going to be one of the next invasive weeds. Just like Nepeta. I mean, nothing around here really likes it other than for the flowers. Marjoram, I said. I got more purple basil. Lettuce leaf basil that I collected myself, 10/5/2024. That went into storage. So last year. African Unum basil, Nepeta catnip, stevia seeds, and I don't even know where I got those. A magazine, I think. Lemon basil seeds. These look like they're from the Rohrer seed catalog. Duh. Says it right on the front. Livingston Thai basil. I grew these at some point, apparently. I don't remember it. Greek mountain mint seeds. I opened them, apparently. Sell by 12/31/2024. Packed for 2024, so I guess I bought these last year. Tried to grow them. Didn't grow them very well. Holy basil. Lettuce leaf basil seeds. Some real ones. From Baker Creek. Heirloom seeds. Siam Queen Thai basil from Baker Creek. Looks like a little 99-cent pack of thyme seeds, probably from the dollar store. Didn't I just hold these up? Siam Queen Thai basil? I think I just held those up. Perilla red shiso. I got a lot of random stuff kicking around. Even more Perilla red shiso. This one's from Rohrer. That other one's from Lake Valley. I think they're pretty old. Pretty sure that's from one of my old employers that shut down. Cinnamon basil. Just regular garden sage. More regular garden sage, 4 for $1 apparently on them. Rorer seeds, Italian large-leaf basil, mountain mint of some sort, so this is some type of pycnanthemum. It says Pycnanthemum pilosum. I wonder if I have any of these. Another one packed for 2024. Yeah, there's quite a few seeds in there yet, so I should probably get that one growing. I love pycnanthemums. Let's see, that's for a different pack. We do, oh, Genovese basil from Lake Valley. That's all the herbs that I have in that container, I guess. In that bag. We'll just kind of do another outside look at the flowers. We got crimson clovers, Vista red salvia. Now, I have no idea if those seeds are actually good. I got those off of a plant that I had bought 2024, so I guess last year. Cosmos, poppies of all sorts. I think there's zinnia seeds in here, Nigella. So I actually have a Nigella pack that needs to go in there. I have a lot of these in here because I want to try and sell some starts next year. And just a bunch of other stuff. So the native plants bag. Lots of old stuff in here. Basically from when I started working in the garden, especially with native plants. I have bladdernut seeds, which a bunch of these had bugs in them. There's bugs in there. And there's holes and things. I don't know if they would grow or not, but bladdernut, that's a pretty cool little shrub. Hoary mountain mint, these are whole flowers. Pycnanthemum incanum from my first collection of them, I believe. So every plant I have is actually a descendant from seeds in that packet. Water horehound from Trail of Bear Gap, so probably Lycopus uniflorus. I never actually got to identify these. I never started them. More hoary mountain mint. I don't think these are whole flowers. It feels like they are flowers and chaff though, so these are just pulverized from 12/31/2023. So I hadn't really figured out how to clean the seeds fully yet. Spotted wintergreen seeds, apparently. I actually have not looked at these in a long time. I wonder if they are even actual seeds or not. So it's actually whole fruits in there. So I'm just not going to touch those because I have no idea if I will get new ones. Purple water horehound, so that's our unknown Lycopus. I don't know that I've done an exclusive video on that, but you can check out video where I talk about them. It's trying rare Pennsylvania herbs. It's a really cool plant. I just really like studying that, and that's from my initial collection of seeds, probably I didn't initially collect seeds to get the plants, so this is probably from 2023, 2024, one of those two. I'm going to go with 2023, being that it doesn't have a date on it. So yeah, this next one, Purple Water Horehound, Lycopus sp. period, 10/5/2024, which means this is the one I collected last year. I have honey locust seeds in here, apparently. They don't look great. I actually think I have 2 packs of these. These ones have a tan color to them, and the other ones have a much darker color to them. Unless I ended up just mixing them together. I don't know. Redbud seeds from forever ago. Black locust seeds from, well, I guess these might both be from last year, 2024. Don't remember. Steeple bush, Spirea tomentosa. I tried to grow those last year. I actually had some luck with it, but I couldn't get them to last until the spring, so just haven't worked with them again. It's a very beautiful plant though. Bright pink flowers. Oh, here's the other honey locust. So you can see these are actually much darker seeds. Ironweed, so Vernonia, I think those are. I don't remember. Blue verbena, so that's Verbena hostata. That's from 2023. I should really be writing these down while I remember them. Wild bergamot from my initial collection of wild bergamot. So that was actually from a plant that came up in the cherry bush completely unexpectedly. I don't know if seeds blew in, if a bird brought them in, or if because I got that bush from my uncle, who's a wetlands biologist. I don't know if he had them in his yard and he dug that bush up. I'm pretty sure that is what happened. But I ended up with wild bergamot, and a lot of the wild bergamot I have now is actually a descendant from this pack of seeds right here. Do you know how much wild bergamot I have? Because I never shut up about it. Water plantain. No idea what the species is. No idea if these seeds are good. That's a rare plant, and I have so many of them. These were actually collected from a local bar that has ponds, believe it or not. And I don't even know if the plant is still there, but it was all over the place there years ago. I should really try and see if these are viable, because this is actually a really beautiful pond plant. Native one, too. Wild red columbine. I don't remember the species name on that. I don't know how I ended up with these. I have no date, so I have no idea when they're from. Virginia ground cherry, so Physalis virginiana right here. Probably my initial, when I started working with them, that really helped me figure out wet processing of plants. And actually, Physalis virginiana was fundamental in learning the Physalis virginiana was very fundamental in me figuring out species relations, like plants going with like plants. It's just a very foundational plant for me, and that's why it actually has such a presence in the garden. Now, I can't show the front of this because this was mailed to me by my uncle. A couple rare seeds here: Blazing Star, Common Milkweed, and Turk's Cap Lily in here. I never actually grew these. These actually came with pawpaw seeds, but they were no good because they had dried out. He was pretty sure that they wouldn't be any good, but he sent them to me anyway, just so I could see what they look like. And I put them in a pot, and they didn't do anything. So that's not anything to worry about. Even has a little note in here from him, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, basically that's all I do to store my seeds. But if you were gonna do it, some things that I would recommend is if you're interplanting, plant those or put those in bags together. If you have a bunch of stuff that gets started at different times, put the ones that get started at similar times. I would put those all in the same bag. That way they're just on hand. And that goes for both those things. But really, I just kind of put like things with like things for myself. That just makes it easier because I grow plants to study them more than I do them, more than I grow plants for any other reason. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. I'd really like to thank you for that. You did a good job. Comment if you have any advice for anybody, or make sure to drop a subscribe. Clearly you liked the video if you made it this far into it, so maybe drop a like, subscribe, comment. Of course, always comment. I really appreciate it. I will respond to it, especially on these longer form videos. And thank you for watching.